Hello and welcome, this is Mouse Gunner, and we're back some more MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. And I started my championship run, and although I was successful, my main combat mech was damaged heavily, so I'm gonna need some time to recover. And I thought I would try out some experiments because I saw some interesting things in that first championship run as far as the loadouts of my opposing mechs. So I was gonna use the Mad Cat Mark II for some of my experimentation. Before I do that though, I would like to improve the survivability of my mech because as far as I'm concerned, most of the damage or the really dangerous damage comes from ballistic or missile weapons, ammunition type weapons as it says here. So I would like to add in reactive armor and max that out if at all possible. We'll back off a little bit on the legs. We get ourselves 41 tons available. Alright, so right now what we're looking at is a top speed of 58 kilometers an hour, and we have the laser anti-missile system, again, to bring up our defense. If we're going to be attacked by missile systems, this is going to be the best way to reduce that damage, and we already have the reactive armor to help us with that as well. So we've gone a lot more defensive-oriented with this Mad Cat Mark II. Now it's time for the weaponry, and the one experiment I was going to run was utilizing one of two weapon systems. So I bought a bunch of these just so that we can experiment with it. So the two weapon systems I'm going to be looking at is the Ultra AC2 and the Ultra AC5. Now from what I can see, the Ultra AC5 definitely does more damage. Not double the damage, but also it's not double the weight, so I guess that's not, you know, it's difference of 2 tons. We do see a reduction in range, but we also see a increase in recycle time as well. So recycle time of 1 second, recycle time of 1.5 seconds. Heat is pretty minimal for both of these weapons. I believe, I'm not really sure which of these weapons would do the rocking effect that we saw when we were fighting that one mech in the last championship run. So I'm not sure which of these would be good for that. That's really what we're looking for, is that rocking effect to make our opponent not have good accuracy. Now again, I don't know how well that affects or how much that affects the AI. And just as a comparison, I think either a pulse laser would be a good comparison. So 6 tons versus 6 tons, because the AC Ultra AC2 is 6 tons. We see 4.5 damage. That is slightly more than the AC5 at 4, but heat is the big factor here at 5.6. And as a result, with an assault mech, the most I could fit on was 3 in the Daishi, and even that was hard to manage with how much heat there was. Whereas with the AC5s, I could very easily see us having 3. Now, it is double the cycle time, so in a way, you could say that a large pulse laser is worth 2 AC5s, but I have a feeling that we could probably easily put 4 of those guys on, maybe? I mean, that would be 32 tons, right? And that would be almost as good as 2 large pulse lasers, which we've seen is pretty effective. Now this, if we had 2 of these, that would be 5 damage, and the cycle time isn't quite as slow. So in theory, this would be about as good as 1 large pulse laser, and I very well see that we could put 4 of these on. 2 of these would be the equivalent of 1 large pulse laser. Maybe. It's hard to say. So if we were to do this, and it's the same tonnage, that's the real difference. But if we were to do 4 of these, in theory, from what I'm understanding, damage would almost, I say almost, be equivalent. I would have to get a calculator out and do the real math, but it would be almost equivalent to 2 large pulse lasers. So to get ourselves effective enough so that we'd be almost at 3, we would need another 2, which we should be able to fit. The question is, do we have the ammo to put into these? Ammo that's sustainable, because we only have 5 tons to work with right now. I've already removed all the heat sinks, so we don't have any weight to use there. But as far as I could tell, this would be as effective as 2 or 3 large pulse lasers, which, as I've seen in the past, is pretty darn effective. And it has better range. Now, the problem I see is, will we actually be able to get that kind of range? At the Coliseum, maybe, but I say maybe. You do start oftentimes right next to somebody. So let's strip this out and see what we can do with Ultra AC5s. If one of these is roughly equivalent, or two of these is roughly equivalent to a large pulse laser, in theory, we should be able to manage that okay. But I wouldn't be able to fit on much more than that. Maybe put in another one here, but then we wouldn't have much for ammo. Alright, well, let's divvy out some of this. We don't have much in the way of defensive equipment, although we could very easily put that on a gladiator or what have you, if we wanted to. Heat is not a problem with 4 of these. I don't know what kind of ammo expenditure we can expect. We have 1 ton left over. I'm not sure what I would want to put that 1 ton into. We could get a medium laser just as something to do, although I don't know if I'm really going to use it. I really love having an ECM in this situation. Beagle Active Probe does us no good. Top speed's probably... We're going to want to have that top speed, I think. Just trying to figure out what is the most efficient use of our space. Alright, so I can use... This would be, in my opinion, equivalent to two large pulse lasers. Whereas the AC2s, in my opinion, would be maybe equivalent of 3. So I personally think that that's the better call, just use of our space. Neither one is going to be really costing us any heat. I think we go the AC2 route. I just think maybe we could fit more of those on a heavier mech, like the Gladiator. We could fit more of the Ultra AC5s, but I think we go with 6 of these suckers, and we try and work it out so that we get some extra ammo in here. I would say that's the big problem, is I just am lacking a little bit as far as the ammo is concerned. I don't know if 480 rounds is going to be enough. And I think that's going to actually be the determiner. I'm going to go with the AC5s just because they might give me the rocking effect I'm looking for. And it's easier to fit out the weapons load that I'm looking for. Oh, I accidentally put an AC2. My bad. I was wondering why we had extra... There we go. I could do a variation, like I could do 2 AC5s and a couple AC2... Yeah, you know, that's not necessarily a bad call either. This would be at a slower pace, though, so it'd be kind of a weird staggered fire. But we could do 2 AC5s and 4 AC2s, maybe? That might be worth trying out. Nah, I think I just keep with 1 weapon system. I think that's just easier to keep track of. I apologize for going back and forth like this, but I'm just trying to think what's the most weight-efficient way that we can do this, so that we can keep up a pretty consistent rate of fire, get the best damage that we can get out. I really don't know how effective this is going to be honest with you. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the equivalent of 2 large pulse lasers, which is a loadout I think we ran in the Mad Cat. So really, this is not great firepower. Alright. I'm going to try the AC2s. I think that's the right call. I apologize for waffling as much as I am. I think part of the problem is maybe I'm going a little bit too much on the armor, and maybe if we back off a little bit in some areas, we might be okay and be able to fit enough ammo to do the job. So, alternatively, I can slow the mech down and get a couple tons easily. Yeah, that works. And then maybe we just dump a ton of ammo somewhere just so that we have it in case of an emergency. All right, well, this is going to be the loadout I go for. And we're going to try it out. It's an experiment. That's what this is all about. And if it goes to plan, it goes to plan. I'm going to put them all in the same weapon group. And I think the game plan for this is rather than do staggered fire, we're going to just do constant stream of fire. And as far as I'm concerned, this should be very close to, at least I think from my calculations, to 3 large pulse lasers, which is as good as we could get with an energy weapon anyway. So let's okay that up. I'm a little bit concerned about the ammo loadout and how that's going to work for us, but we'll give it a try. And I will go ahead and do, let's say, a jungle assault, just to try this sucker out. Like it's already selected, so we're good to go. And here we go.
This is Duncan Fisher reporting live from Solaris. We have a good match in store for you. The pilots out there are signaling they are ready, so we'll jump right into the fight. Game time!
Ow! That's no good. I don't know if I want to stick around here. We'll find out one way or another how effective this is.
This is the big league, rookie. I'll watch your back this round if you watch mine. If we're the only ones left, then we can settle who's better. Deal?
Enemy detected.
Ouch, that one's gotta hurt. Looks like that's one mech for the trash heap.
Okay, we were able to stand toe-to-toe there.
Detected.
Look at all that ordnance fly. Man, I love a good fight. My favorite weapon was the AC-5. It has a nice recycle, and you can keep someone rocking if you get your timing right. I hear some pilots say that some tactics are dishonorable. I always say any tactic that isn't expressly forbidden is fair game. A lot of the people down there are real warriors, and when you're in a real battle, there is only one rule: survive. If you live, you can debate morality later. If you're gonna try to dodge, it's best to dodge out of the way, not into it. I bet that pilot's thinking, hey, how'd I get hit? With reflexes like those, he should expect it more often.
Okay, it looks like this is pretty effective. Now, whether or not our ammo is going to hold out, not sure. But on a heavier mech, we might be able to...
Bam! 2 kills for Spectre.
With a heavier mech, we might be able to afford the ammo. And as far as I can tell, this so far is pretty
Look at all
effective.
those fireworks. There's some debate on whether a good Solaris mech would dominate in the field. Lots of armchair warriors will talk this point to death. My perspective on it is this: a Solaris assault mech is any warrior's dream. If money was no issue and you wanted to field the best, then any one of the mechs down there would do. One thing people forget, though, is that it's not only expensive to buy those babies, it is expensive to maintain them. Even a major house would go broke fast if they tried to field a bunch of those bad boys.
Okay, so the Atlas is my friend. Alright, I'll let these guys fight it out a little bit. We'll just kind of stay on our vantage point. This Awesome doesn't have much left. But if...
Target destroyed.
I'm impressed you've made it this far. We'll see who's left standing now, though.
Okay, it's not letting me target him yet. Oh well.
Bam! It's game over. The bedlam in the jungle is over. Spectre is in the spotlight again. He's gotten a taste for victory, and I think he likes it. When he's down there, it is a peek at a real warrior. A warrior that knows how mechs perform under pressure. He's a cool-headed juggernaut, and some of the pilots have learned to fear the Mercman. Have a good day, Solaris fan, and I'll see you next game.
Alright, I think we learned the lesson we were looking for, which was, can these ultra autocannons, the lighter ones, the AC-2 in particular, be an effective weapon? And I think the answer to that is definitely yes. Now, unfortunately, I bought as many of them as I possibly could. 6 was as much as I could get, and I didn't have any in my stores before. I also bought as many ultra autocannon 5s that I could. it might be worth upgrading there, but as we could see, I was able to take advantage of the long range there and really peck away at guys. Now, whether or not I'm going to get that situation and the Coliseum is hard to say, because more than likely I'm going to have, just like what we had with this particular match, where we're going to have somebody close to us, and in the championship rounds, we're probably going to have more than one person close to us. We're not necessarily going to be able to do what I did in this fight, which was stand toe-to-toe with somebody, kill them, and then be able to pick people from a distance, because we might have much more of a population around us. So how effective this weapon setup is, it's hard to say in a championship setting, but it seemed like it was pretty effective here. I think the key, though, was getting my defense up, too, because we did take a lot of damage there. I mean, my leg turned orange, and that was after taking reactive armor and all that. And that was a heavy gauze rifle that did that, because I think that is what the mech that hit me was using. So even with really good armor, that is something we might expect. So coming forward, I don't think that would necessarily be a bad idea to use these AC2s or AC5s. Again, if we take a look at the free market, maybe they will have stocked up with more because some time went by, but I have a feeling that is not the case. So coming into clan, ultra cannons. Yeah, so I bought all the AC2s and AC5s I could. Those have not been restocked. So unfortunately, I cannot get any more. And if I take damage and I lose any, then that's going to be that. I can't really replace them. So it is a little bit of a risk going into a battle with them, because this is as many as I have. But as I said, this is almost as effective as 3 large pulse lasers, at least mathematically, roughly in my head. So that seemingly was an effective weapon. One we couldn't keep cool, but we can keep these cool no problem. It's just, can we keep them supplied with ammo? All right, well, in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.